This is Mac OS Ken.
Toro, Wall Street. The kids are still down with iPhone. And Apple Vision Pro improves Meta Quest. It is Wednesday, the 10th of April, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code MacOSKen at manscaped.com. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. The most bullish of Apple bulls has issued a bullish note. Despite headwinds, says the headline from Apple 3.0, Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives sticks with street-high $250 Apple target. He sees a break in the clouds, morning's first light on the dark horizon, the last few quarters of this growth storm. One of those was a quote. While a lot has worked against Apple in China, a softer economy, geopolitical tensions, a resurgent Huawei, Ives says early April data points in the supply chain indicate that Apple iPhone builds have held steady with initial projections from the beginning of this year. Of course, those were not awesome, but it's still better than had been feared. While he and his think China will be weak when Apple reports second quarter earnings, they believe other regions, including the US, Europe, and India, will show strength for the quarter and will help balance out a soft China number. Okay, that's why you don't freak out. Posing the rhetorical question, why stay bullish in the near term? Ives and crew list 5 reasons, including steady iPhone sales for this year and 2025 street estimates that seem conservative to Wedbush. Pent-up demand around an upgrade cycle could exceed 270 million iPhones heading into iPhone 16. Services are rock solid, according to the analyst, with double-digit growth. AI is finally coming to Apple with a major AI announcement expected at WWDC, and Apple has the strongest installed base of any company in the world with 2.2 billion iOS devices. While the street is bracing for a brutal March quarter and soft June guidance, Ives says Apple is all about navigating the next 1 to 2 quarters before reaping the benefits of the 5 factors mentioned in the note. Wedbush has an outperform rating on Apple shares. The firm's price target on the shares is the aforementioned $250. While he might agree with Mr. Ives' most recent note, I got an email from a listener who took issue with something the Wedbush analyst said last week. On Monday, I told you of Ives' assertion that Apple getting into robots or robotics would be a horror show moment and that Apple should focus on artificial intelligence instead. That prompted David to send me an email saying normally I like to agree with Apple bulls like Daniel Ives, but his criticism of Apple's rumored move to work on personal robotics is uninformed. It is a false choice to think that robotics competes with AI for resources. A tangible application for AI would be a useful personal robot. The mechanical and electronic aspects of robots have been solved for decades. In factories, many repetitive tasks in highly controlled environments have been done by robots for a long time. Revolutionary AI will be required to make robots more generally adaptive and useful. I'm excited to see Apple venture into this space. While the terms revolutionary AI and robots in the same sentence make me a tiny bit uneasy, no disrespect to our future robot overlords, I'm picking up what David's laying down. Thank you, sir, for writing in. Everybody else, you can do so too. info@macosken.com. Another sign of strength for Apple's App Store. Last week, Evercore analyst Amit Daryanani said he and his had tracked 13% growth for App Store revenue in the month of March. Now, BofA analyst Wamsi Mohan says he and his have seen the same. On Tuesday, Apple 3.0 ran part of a note he wrote According to that, App Store revenue in March was up 13% versus March of 2023. In China specifically, App Store revenue was up 7%. While they seem to match on the month, Mohan and Daryanani split on the quarter. Evercore is looking for App Store growth of 13% for the March quarter, while BofA is only expecting 10%. That's plenty good for Mr. Mohan, though. The analyst maintains a buy rating on Apple shares, given a multi-year phone upgrade cycle driven by generative AI and continued tailwinds from mix shift to services, according to his note. Mohan's price target on the shares is $225. If you're like that terrible singer from Say Anything and believe that the children are our future, you gotta feel good about Apple's future, at least here in the US. Apple Insider has word of Piper Sandler's latest Taking Stock with Teens survey, showing that generation's continued love affair with iPhone, and to a lesser extent, Apple Watch. To find the numbers, the report says approximately 6,020 teens were surveyed in 47 states, with an average age of 16.1 years. The average household income of teens surveyed was $66,280, with 38% of the teenagers listed as part-time employed. On the phone, the firm found ownership of iPhone still sitting at a record high 85%. Intent to buy is down a smidge, now at 86%, a slight downturn that Piper Sandler sees as notable for near-term iPhone demand. Mostly, though, the firm is stoked, saying it believes the elevated penetration and purchase intention are important given the mature premium smartphone market. As for Apple Watch, it's not quite as solid, though it does seem to be skewing favorably. According to the report, upper-income teens have continued to rate Apple as their favorite watch brand, though not by a lot. The brand's watch favorability of 36% is down from last fall's 42%. It is also just ahead of the 34% rating nabbed by Rolex. Ownership is said to be flat, 34% last fall, 34% now. Intent to buy is up, though. Last fall it was at 10%. The most recent survey puts it at 13%. Where Apple could maybe use some love from the kids is on the services side, specifically in music. According to Apple Insider, when asked which music services they had used over the last 6 months, about 35% said Apple Music, which is relatively consistent with the last 2 surveys. Spotify managed about 65%, though in the fall, it was at 70%. Where Apple is totally money, though, is in money. According to the report, Apple Pay has the highest penetration of teen users, with 57% responding that they had it installed on their smartphone, and 44% saying they used it in the last month. India's Tata Group is apparently buying its way into more iPhone production. Apple Insider cites a Reuters report that says the Indian conglomerate is in advanced talks to take a controlling interest in a Pegatron plant in Tamil Nadu. The plant is Pegatron's only iPhone manufacturing facility in India, though it will keep a hand in the business. The report says Tata is buying 65% of the operation, leaving Pegatron with a part share in the joint venture. Pegatron is expected to give Tata technical support. The firm is also expected to help run a separate iPhone plant Tata is building in another part of the Indian state. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Manscaped. We've talked some this week about things we don't usually talk about: men's health and men's hygiene. On the health side, it is National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, and Manscaped is raising awareness and money. Not only are they donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society, they're helping you watch out for warning signs. For that, you can visit manscaped.com/TCS. As for the hygiene side, well, I've told you about the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra from Manscaped. 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, 1-hour lithium-ion battery, spotlight, waterproof, built to do a single job well. But men are hairy in more than one place, and Manscaped has other places covered as well, with devices like the Beard Hedger Pro Kit Plus Handyman electric face shaver, as well as a range of shampoos, balms, and deodorants to make taking care of everything less of a thing. They have a sense of humor about selling their products, but a true seriousness about making them. Learn more. Go to manscaped.com and use code MacOSKen for 20% off plus free shipping. That's 20% off and free shipping with code MacOSKen, all caps, all one word, MacOSKen at manscaped.com. MANSCAPED. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code MacOSKen at manscaped.com. Apple has an idea for big businesses. Start using Apple Vision Pro. Mac Rumor says the Cupertino company issued a whopping multimedia press release Tuesday, highlighting such enterprise use cases as customizable workspaces, collaboration on 3D designs, developing specialized employee training, and guiding remote field work. You know, it kind of makes me wish I worked with other people, but could be far away from them, but could use digital persona so it would be like they were right there without the social anxiety of having to actually be anywhere near anybody. Boy, the future is neat, huh? Here's a surprising use case for Apple Vision Pro: improving Meta Quest 3. Though likely not intentional, a piece from 9to5Mac says Apple's headset is prompting improvements to Facebook's headset, particularly in the realm of pass-through video. At its heart, Apple Vision Pro is an augmented reality device, laying data and graphics over the real world around us. At its heart, at least in the beginning, Meta Quest was a virtual reality device, putting users in environments removed from where they actually happen to be. Over the years, Meta Quest has shifted towards augmented reality. Before Apple Vision Pro, it was likely seen as fine, usable, but not convincing in terms of AR, as 9to5Mac puts it. Meanwhile, everyone agrees pass-through on Apple's headset is unparalleled. Now Meta is improving Quest 3's pass-through, something 9to5Mac attributes to Apple's headset. A recent update to Facebook's offering includes improved resolution, making it easier for users to see finer details and read smaller text in the real world, such as notifications on a smartphone screen, according to Meta. They've also heightened the image quality, improving color, exposure, contrast, and dynamic range in pass-through, making what one sees through the helmet more closely match the real world. Of course, Meta Quest 3 and Apple Vision Pro are only kind of competing. The former starts at $500, the latter starts at $3,500. But times and prices do change. As long as Apple Vision Pro is priced in the money is no object range, 9to5Mac says Meta should be comfortable with Apple Vision Pro being a benchmark in quality, but not a competitor in the same slice of the market. However, a more affordable Apple Vision is almost inevitable. That is what Meta has to race to compete against. Of course, Apple's not resting on its head-mounted laurels. A piece from Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company hit with a couple of visionOS revisions on Tuesday, one for everyone with one of its headsets, and another for developers and testers. First for everybody. The piece says Apple on Tuesday released visionOS 1.1.2. Nothing like new features on this one. According to Apple's release notes, according to the report, the update introduces unspecified bug fixes. It is, of course, recommended for all users of Apple Vision Pro. Strictly for developers, Apple on Tuesday also released an updated beta of visionOS 1.2. The piece offers no information on that, save an updated build number. Used to end in E, now ends in F, if you're keeping track. Apple's digging deeper into the Sunshine State. A piece from Bloomberg says the Cupertino company is adding a Coral Gables address. Located just south of Miami, Florida, the report has Apple snagging 45,000 square feet in a new building in the wealthy suburb. The location is not completely new for the Cupertino crew. Bloomberg says Apple already has a smaller office in the area focused mostly on the Latin American market and on advertising. The news, unconfirmed by Apple, comes on the heels of a big retail move planned for that area. Early last month, we heard word that Apple is planning a one-story standalone retail building for Miami World Center, a 27-acre mega-development in the city's downtown. As for the new digs, not only will there be other Apple properties around, there'll be other big tech players as well. According to Bloomberg, Amazon is on the lookout for roughly 50,000 square feet in or around Miami. Microsoft has reportedly signed a lease on office space, and hedge fund manager Ken Griffin is said to be putting the headquarters for Citadel LLC in the same building as Mr. Softy. And finally today, something from the Where Are They Now, Where Are They Going file. 9to5Mac has a bit of scuttlebutt on the AI device reportedly being developed by OpenAI's Sam Altman and former Apple design king Johnny Ive. What is the thing on which the two are working? Nobody seems to know. The most the report has to offer is something from The Information, saying that the device will not look like a phone, and that political activist, business executive, and Steve Jobs' widow, Laurene Powell Jobs, may be an investor. According to its Wikipedia entry, the Emerson Collective is an organization focused on education, immigration reform, the environment, media and journalism, and health. Founded by Ms. Jobs in 2004, Emerson, Ive, and Altman are all said to be eyeing each other. The 9to5Mac piece quotes The Information saying, the startup has discussed deals with Emerson Collective, according to a person involved in the process, and another person with knowledge of the talks. Ive wants to raise up to $1 billion in funding, said a second person who has been involved in the process. Emerson's founder, Laurene Powell Jobs, is close personally to Altman and Ive, whom she has known for decades. Name recognition, a potential investor. Now if somebody could just tell us what the blessed thing would do or be, might be kind of exciting. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code macOSKen at manscaped.com. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.